99.3 The Vine. Live it up.
Well, as promised, it is time for Wellness Wednesday, and that means I'm here with Jane Ehrman of imagesofwellness.com. Hi, Jane. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Robin. It's good to be back.
Oh, good. It's always such a treat. I get so excited when I get to see you. So we're talking today about mindfulness and why it's important. And I've heard that a lot of us have heard, about mindfulness. We talk about it a lot. It's kind of a little buzzword. And it's important to practice mindful meditation. I think we did a whole afternoon talking about meditation one time even. We know that practicing mindful meditation for 15 to 20 minutes has really significant benefits. Are there ways that we can strengthen mindfulness in shorter segments? Maybe we don't have a whole, long time to do some meditation, but how can we do this maybe throughout our day to just relieve stress or in specific situations?
Yes, Robin, we can do it in shorter segments. Too often people get into black and white thinking, or all or nothing thinking is more like it, where if I can't do 15 or 20 minutes, I'm not going to do any at all. I can't do it. And really, 1 or 2 minutes can be really beneficial, these smaller segments. And today I want to share a variety of ways to practice mindfulness, whether you're at home or at work, or if you're doing performance work like athletics and academics, things like that, to improve your concentration and focus.
Well, just as a review, what is mindfulness and why is it important to practice?
Mindfulness is being fully present, right here, right now, in the moment, paying attention. It's being all in, fully engaged and aware of what's going on. In fact, Harvard research has shown, this is really interesting, that 47% of a person's day can be lost in thoughts. We're talking daydreaming, ruminating, thinking, reliving something, anticipating an event, or planning.
That's almost half.
That's almost half. That's a lot of wasted time being up in your head.
Oh my gosh.
And so mindfulness is important because we make our best choices and decisions when we're fully present, when we're in the moment, we're fully alive, experiencing life.
Well, what can we do to strengthen our ability to be more present at home? I mean, there's so many distractions.
Absolutely. And so many times we go on autopilot.
Right.
So we can do short practices of mindfulness. Here are some examples. To be present when you put your keys or your phone or other items down. How often do we put those things down as we're walking away, and then we spend more time looking for it later because we don't remember? So this really does work, to literally take 2 or 3 seconds and say to yourself, I'm putting my keys on the table by the door, or my phone is on the kitchen counter. Literally, that takes 2 or 3 seconds. And then when we go and do something else, and it's like, oh, I need my phone. Oh, it's on the kitchen counter. I knew that. It's amazing how that works.
Right.
You can use it at meals to take before you eat. How often do we inhale our food and don't even taste it? At a meal, before you start to eat, take 3 slow, deep breaths to bring yourself to the moment. Look at the food that's in front of you, how it looks and smells. Notice that you're hungry. Another one is to just pay attention and taste your food. If you're going to have an ice cream cone and it's your favorite flavor, why not fully be present to enjoy how it tastes, how it feels in your mouth, how your mouth lights up with those tarty or sweety flavors, whatever they are. So those kinds of things are important. You don't want to eat like a Labrador retriever that inhales your food.
I'm picturing adults needing those little spiral bowls that they give the dogs.
Make them work for it. Exactly.
Yep.
And another one is when you're doing the dishes, feel the warm, soapy water. Why be in your head about 16 other things? Notice the flow of the water when you rinse the cup or the dish. Let yourself focus just on the dishes. That can actually be calming.
For sure.
And this one I think is particularly important. How often do people talk to us and we're like, and instead really pay attention, listen to their words, the tone of their voice, their eyes, the body language. All of these are parts to help you get a full understanding of what they're expressing to you. That's being engaged in the conversation. Too often, we're waiting for them to stop talking so we can talk.
Like we're thinking about reacting without even listening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what about mindfulness at work when we're feeling pressure and stress and so much is going on?
It's an important thing at work to be consciously aware, meaning aware of what you're feeling inside and also aware of what's going on around you, because otherwise we end up reacting to a situation or get caught up in someone else's drama or our thoughts and feelings, and we react. It's important to just be present so that you can decide how best to respond. Just because we think or feel something doesn't always mean it's true. So when you're getting pulled away into other people's tension or pressure of a situation, that's a good time to just get out of your head and breathe. Just be right there and then choose how you're going to respond.
Right. And if you're just tuning in, I'm speaking with Jane Ehrman from imagesofwellness.com. We're talking about mindfulness, and specifically right now about mindfulness at work when we're feeling pressure and stress, ways that we can kind of deal with it, really.
Exactly. And so in a work situation when there's a lot of stress and you're feeling stressed out, do your best to take a 1 or 2 minute step away. Just go look out a window at nature or the sky, or maybe step outside into the fresh air and breathe. Clear your head. Notice the sounds of nature around you. Just be there. There's no need to close your eyes or sit or, just stand there or take a short 1 minute walk. Stop multitasking. We all think we're getting a lot of things done when we multitask, but the truth is you aren't giving full attention to any of those tasks, and that's how we end up making mistakes. So another one is to just get off that autopilot where you're automatically doing tasks and you're thinking about other things. Again, it's how we make mistakes.
Right. So often, especially if it's tasks that we do on the daily, it's easy to just start doing them.
Yeah. Well, listen to this research. This is an interesting fact here, that snacks at a meeting actually reduces productivity and attention. The meeting starts and there's that plate of donuts or cookies. Mm-hmm. And before you know it, you're sitting there arguing with yourself about, I'm not going to have any of those. That's just, well, maybe I'll have one. Should I have the cookies? And then before you know it, you're irritated inside saying, when are they going to pass those things around? And you've missed all this conversation in the meeting because your focus
You're thinking about the cookies.
Off. Yeah, absolutely.
But if you're hungry, come on, you got to get the cookies.
Get it first.
Maybe just get the cookie. Just stop debating with yourself and treat yourself. Do the cookie. So are there ways that we can help our young children to be more mindful? Sometimes it just seems like mindfulness is not always in the MO of a toddler.
No, it isn't. And toddler, and I'm talking even first, second graders, young children, absolutely. Here are some easy and even fun ways to practice mindfulness with kids. Sit outside and with each of your senses, focus on what you notice. So start with maybe what you see. Notice the scenery around you and ask them, what do you see? Are there trees? Are there flowers? What's different across the way? What do you see out here that's red or yellow or purple? Another one is then close your eyes and have them notice the sounds that they hear as they're outside, the different sounds of nature, whether it's birds or insects or the wind through the trees, vehicles that are driving around or whatever. And then notice how the air smells. These are all little bits. You can do just one of them a day or whatever. But how the air smells. Is it fresh? Has somebody cut their grass? Do you notice? Does the air smell warm? Those kinds of things. And the last one is at bedtime. To have them just lie there in bed, and maybe they close their eyes, or they're just staring off into space, and ask them to notice how their body feels resting in bed. How do your toes feel? Are they warm? And how about your feet and your lower legs? And what you're actually doing is a gentle body scan with them, but you're helping them quiet their mind and actually focus on what's going on in their body, and it helps quiet them and help them fall asleep more easily.
Mm-hmm. I could imagine that.
Yeah, and this is a fun one, and it's taking maybe a piece of fruit and just notice how it looks and smells, and then take a bite of it, but then just hold it in your mouth and ask them to notice what happens. What happens is you start to salivate, and then ask them to bite it or roll it around and feel is it rough? Is it smooth? Is it mushy? Is it, crunchy? What is it? Chew it and notice how it tastes. What are the flavors? Is it whatever you're eating? Is it sweet? Is it tart? That kind of thing. This can be really fun, and it helps children really experience the food they're eating and then notice how it feels when they swallow it. When I used to teach a meditation class to little children, we would use a raisin to practice mindful eating, and they took it very seriously. And we would do this for a couple of minutes where they were really experiencing that raisin. They loved it.
Something as small as a raisin. Wow. Well, what kind of mindfulness practices help with performance, whether it's sports, music, dance, schoolwork, academics, things where we really need to be focused?
When it comes to performance, often we feel stressed or worried that we're going to make mistakes. And so thinking about the possible mistakes actually takes you out of the moment. Again, you're in your head, and that's not a good place to be while you're performing. So when you're performing, stay in the moment, stay in the flow of the activity. If you make a mistake, let it go. Get back in the game, get back onto the next piece, the next measure in the music piece, whatever it is. When you see athletes that are successful, people like Caitlin Clark or Patrick Mahomes, LeBron James, Steph Curry, all these people, they clear mistakes. Sometimes you see them, they'll just shake their head or they'll mumble something to themselves and off they go and they're back in the game. That is really important. And I can talk more about the mental aspect of performance in another segment. At school, many students study with music in the background. That's fine. That can be soothing, especially if it's instrumental music. But music with lyrics can pull you away from the focus of what you're studying and into the song, and then you turn into multitasking.
Because your head is starting to kind of sing the song in your brain.
Yeah, and then you start thinking about all the times you liked that song when you were doing this, that, or the other thing. Yeah.
And if you're just tuning in, again, we're talking with Jane Ehrman from Images of Wellness. This is our Wellness Wednesday, and we're talking about using mindfulness practices to help with performance, whether it's academics or athletics or what have you.
Yeah. So before taking a test, an exam, take 1 or 2 minutes and just focus on breathing comfortably. Long, slow, full breaths in and out. And this will help calm you and get good oxygen to your brain. Then bring your focus to taking the test. Clearly understanding, paying attention to the questions, and answering correctly. Stay in the moment. And when I've noticed, when I would grade my students' exams, I noticed that many times they erased the correct answer and changed it.
That old second guessing, huh?
Yeah. So when taking a test, generally the first answer that comes to mind is correct. Avoid that overthinking and the second guessing.
Well, that was sure a lot of great information about using short and effective mindfulness exercises. It's so interesting how it doesn't need to be a whole 15 to 20 minute process. It can just be a short break in the day. Any last thoughts for us today?
Robin, get out of your head and into the present moment. When you're in the present moment, you're fully alive.
Well, that certainly is some great advice. Thanks, Jane. I love having you come in here, and it's always such a pleasure. Thanks again for joining us for Wellness Wednesday.
99.3 The Vine is proudly owned and operated locally by Wind Down Media.